Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Fame with Tiffany Renee. If you have been here before, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I am Tiffany Renee, and on this channel we talk about everything metaphysics, quantum physics, spirituality, and everything in between as it pertains to this very unique, very interesting life experience that we're having in the 3D. I also do channel messages for the collective as well on this channel. And if you are interested in having your own personal channel message or even some one-on-one manifestation coaching, I will leave the link in the description box below for you to click on my website and book whatever you want. There's also other really great resources on there as well. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, all the things. Hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I post something new. So I wanted to make this video a few days ago, but I ended up doing that like impromptu word that came to my spirit the other day. But I was thinking about something that Neale Donald Walsch, the author Neale Donald Walsch, he's the author of Conversations with God. Phenomenal series of books. It's 3 books. It's absolutely incredible. Check those out. I think you can listen to the audio version on YouTube. That's where I discovered them like 8 or 9 years ago, and it completely changed my trajectory and my perception on life and on God and everything like that. So just check it out. But there's another book that he has as well that was also channeled. And I cannot find the book. I came across it on YouTube. I listened to it and it blew my mind, but I can't find it and I can't think of the title of it. But anyway, it pertains to consequences versus punishment. And in Conversations with God, book 1, he's having this conversation with God, and God tells him that God never punishes. Like, I don't punish you all. For what reason would God punish his creations? Punish you for what? Punish you for having free will and being able to make whatever choices that you want to make? I mean, I have no moral stake in this. It's whatever. I've given you free will to do, say, act, whatever, and you can either do it according to your divine guidance or you can do it according to your ego or whatever. But I'm not going to punish you regardless. But your actions will not be without consequence. When I heard that, it really took me to a whole nother place. And then that this other book was mentioned again. And I was like, there's a difference between consequences and punishment. There's really a difference between consequences and punishment, because to me, for my whole life, I lumped them together as the same thing. Like, consequences is a punishment, especially if it's a consequence and the result is something that you really didn't want or something that you don't like or something. I'm like, this is definitely a punishment. Or if I see something that I define as negative or scary or hurtful or something like that that happens, in my mind, well, I'm being punished, or we're being punished, or the collective is being punished, or whoever is being punished. It's a punishment. No, it's not. It's a consequence. Majority of the time, it is a consequence. Majority of the time, when we find ourselves in circumstances or in things that happen, then we look at it as a punishment because the result is something that we don't like. And so we define it as a punishment. But it's not a punishment. It is simply a consequence. And here's the difference. So I decided to actually look up the true definition of the word punishment. Okay? What is punishment? What does that even mean? Okay, punishment is the infliction of a penalty as retribution for an offense. for an offense. The infliction of a penalty as retribution for an offense. Now, if you say, okay, Tiffany, what the heck is retribution? What does that mean? Retribution is defined as punishment inflicted on someone as vengeance for a wrong or criminal act. That's what retribution is. So punishment is the infliction of a penalty as retribution for an offense. Retribution is the punishment that is inflicted on someone as vengeance for the wrong or the criminal act. And then if you say, well, Tiffany, what is vengeance? Vengeance is punishment inflicted for an injury or offense. Vengeance is punishment inflicted for an injury or an offense. So, to define punishment in itself, punishment, you're inflicting a penalty on somebody as retribution for an offense because you felt offended, okay? You feel like this person needs to be penalized for this offense because you feel offended by something, right? Or a group of people offended another group of people, or whatever the case may be. So you feel like they need to be penalized as retribution to atone for that, right? As retribution. What is the retribution part? Retribution is the punishment that is inflicted, whatever that looks like. So the punishment that is inflicted could be anything from a parent-child dynamic where the parent says, go clean up your room, and the child doesn't do it. And so the parent takes offense that the child didn't go clean their room as a sign of disobedience. So they're offended. And so then the parent issues a penalty. Okay? The penalty is, guess what? I'm taking away your PlayStation for a week. Okay? Now that's retribution for the offense. Now, the retribution, remember, it's the punishment that is inflicted on someone as vengeance for the wrong. Okay? So the retribution is taking away the PlayStation. That's the punishment that the parent inflicted on the child. Okay? So first, the parent takes offense to the fact that the child did not clean their room as an act of disobedience. They define it as an act of disobedience. Okay, well, now the parent is offended because the child demonstrated an act of disobedience. So there's a penalty. I'm going to penalize you for that. And then the retribution is established. The retribution is, how am I going to penalize you? I'm going to take away your PlayStation. That's the punishment inflicted. I'm taking away your PlayStation and I'm going to keep it for a whole week. 7 days, you don't get to play with your PlayStation. And I'm doing this as vengeance because I feel wronged that you did not clean your room when I said so. Vengeance is the punishment inflicted for the injury. The vengeance part is simply the taking away of the PlayStation to make up for the fact that me, the parent, took offense to you, the child, not being obedient to me when I said to clean your room. So, are you seeing the pattern here? Punishment cannot exist until an offense has been established. You have to be offended in order to seek punishment. An offense has to have taken place. Okay? And this can be in a personal one-to-one offense, like the example I just used, or it could be a collective offense. Okay? One country takes offense to another country, from another country for like mocking their national anthem or something, whatever, right? When people get offended, some, not all, But sometimes we have this reaction, this knee-jerk reaction to say, I'm offended. How dare you? Or how dare you not? And you need to be penalized for offending me. Okay? And this is the way I think you should be punished. Look at the penal system. Okay, look at the criminal justice system. Okay? Offenses are made. Sometimes. Offenses are made. And as a result, like, you're being penalized for the offense. Depending on the measure of offense determines how you're going to be penalized for it, what your retribution is going to be. Is it going to be a slap on the wrist, a misdemeanor, 250 hours of community service, or is it going to be life in prison? Right? That determines it. And that will be the vengeance taken upon the person. That will be their vengeance. It will be whatever the sentence is. That will be the punishment that is inflicted to try to right that wrong, right? But again, punishment cannot exist without an offense. An offense has to be made before you can be punished. Think about that for a second. Think of the times where we punish others or we punish ourselves, okay? Punish senior citizens, punish children, punish a lot of innocent lives. Think about it, but really think about it even as it pertains to you. How many times have you inflicted some sort of self-punishment onto yourself? Whether it was being nasty to yourself, condemning yourself, calling yourself names, criticizing yourself, putting yourself down, not trusting yourself, not believing in yourself, self-betraying, a lot of, self-betrayal happening, allowing yourself to stay in toxic relationships or toxic friendships or toxic work environments, telling yourself that you can't do any better, telling yourself to just put up with it, just endure, just do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do, just stick with it, it'll be fine, at the risk of your own mental, physical, emotional, and psychological detriment. How many times are you inflicting self-punishment onto yourself when we've just established that in order for you to punish yourself or to be punished in general, an offense has to be made? How have you offended yourself to the point where you now have decided that you need to be punished and you need to be the one to give out that punishment? That the retribution has to happen through you. That the vengeance has to happen in order for you to right that offense. How have you offended yourself? How have you injured yourself? How are you wronging yourself? Or how have you wronged others? Have you wronged others and you feel like that you can't forgive yourself and so you need to self-punish? It's just food for thought. Food for thought, because I had to think about that for a second. I literally thought to myself, sometimes I'm not always kind to myself. And I feel like that's a form of self-punishment. And I know where it comes from. Because as a child, I come from a place of constant punishment, even without doing anything. Things that probably shouldn't warrant intense punishment, I got intensely punished for. There was a lot of physical abuse, I guess, would be the best way to say it, for the smallest thing. The smallest thing. A lot of verbal abuse, a lot of condemnation. I failed my math homework. Okay. that probably shouldn't be warranted as a punishment, but let's figure out why you failed it so we can fix it so you don't fail it again. That would be the normal process, right? For me, it was considered a failure, and failure was not allowed. Failure was grounds for punishment. So I was punished, severely physically punished, because I failed my math homework. So that was from a very young age, like 12 years old or something. So if I'm, getting my butt kicked, basically, for failing a math test, okay? And that taught me that anytime I miss the mark, anytime I sin, which the definition of sin is simply to miss the mark, every time I miss the mark, I need to be punished. Every time I don't hit my goal, I need to be punished. Every time I don't say the right thing, I need to be punished. Every time I maybe fall on hard times because I lost my job or something happened, and then I need to be punished. Do you see what I mean? Even things that are considered out of my control, if it affects me in some kind of way that I view as negative, I need to be punished for it. And because there's no one around me to punish me for me, there's no parents punishing me, my conscious mind, my subconscious is like, well, you need to punish yourself. Because it's still used to this reward punishment system, right? Somehow it still believes that I am an offense, that I'm in offense of something. My mind feels, my body feels offended, like an offense was made. And so I need to penalize myself for offending myself. Okay. Thank God for growth, right? Thank God for awareness, because we're going to just aware our way out of that, okay? Because that's unacceptable, okay? When you know better, you do better, right? Now, let's talk about consequences. There's two meanings of consequences. The first meaning, a result or effect of an action or condition. Let me say it again. A result or effect of an action or condition. That is a consequence. Did you notice that one word is missing out of the definition of consequence? Offense. No offense needs to occur in order for you to experience a consequence. Let that sink in for a second. What does that mean? It means that consequences are not inherently bad. That means consequences are completely unbiased. It means that consequences does not care about morality, values, what religion you are, what race you are. It doesn't care about all of these outside things. It's a universal law, and it applies to everyone, no matter what, no matter who you are. It's simply a result or an effect of an action or a condition. That's just what it is. That action or condition can be amazing. It can be credible, and it can serve you. It can serve the community. It can serve the collective. Or that action or condition can go against you. It can work against you. It can work against the collective. It can work against the community. But it's just providing the result of whatever the behavior, the thoughts, the beliefs, the actions, the intentions, the condition, whatever it's presented. It's just the consequence of it. Whatever action you take, here's just the consequence of it. Good, better, indifferent. It doesn't matter. It's just a simple equation. It's very much 1 + 1 = 2. Like that's just what it is. Therefore, everything has a consequence. Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. No offense needs to be taken because your consequences are not punishing you for anything, because it's not contingent upon needing an offense to be there. So if you do something, if you take an action, okay, and you say, you know what, I'm just being punished. I'm being punished because I knew better. I knew better than to date this person. I knew this person was toxic and I dated them anyway. And I'm just being punished. God is just punishing me for being stupid. So this is what I get. I deserve to be in this menacing type of relationship. That's what I get. No. Because now you're thinking of it as a punishment. A self-punishment at that. You've decided that you've offended yourself, that you betrayed yourself, and therefore it qualifies to have a penalty. You need to be punished for that. But no, that's not a punishment. That is simply a consequence of the choice that you made. The choice maybe to not listen to your intuition and not date that person. You're not being punished for the fact that the relationship is garbage. You're simply being shown the result of the action that you took. That's all that is. And the beauty about consequences is that you can always just take another action. Choose a different condition. Choose a different reality. That brings me to the second meaning. The second meaning of consequence is importance or relevance. And they used a really good example with this sentence. The past is of no consequence. What a good example. What a good statement. The past is of no consequence. So consequence can also mean importance or relevance. And this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful because when it comes to you calling in your ideal reality and manifesting the life that you want, manifesting the experience that you want, the community, the world, the love, whatever it is, calling in your ideal reality, when it comes to quantum physics and deliberate manifestation, your past is irrelevant. Your 3D circumstances bear no importance on you getting your desired outcome. There is no relevance to it, which is what a lot of the amazing teachers have been saying this entire time. Tom Caron talks about it. He just talked about it again today. Roxy talks about it. Manifesting with Kimberly talks about it. Of course, Greg Braden talks about it. Alan Watts talks about it. Neville Goddard talks about it. It's that consequences have no bearing on whether or not you get what you want, because all consequences are just contingent upon whatever action or condition that you choose to engage in. Here's the result of it. So that means that we don't have to hold ourselves hostage to our pasts. We don't even have to connect with our past if it's a past that we don't like. We can do revision, or we can just tell a new story. That I'm now the version of me who comes from it, fill in the blank. And that's why I am who I am. That's why I'm this new version of me. Because I've always had great relationships. I've always had money. I've always been surrounded by love. I've always been healthy. What are you talking about? I've always had great skin. I've always been really smart. Do you see what I mean? You're just telling a new story of your past, since the past, okay, is of no consequence. It's of no consequence to you getting what you want right now in this current moment, because there's only the divine now, the infinite now. That's all that exists. Remember that. It is only now. So anything else that's happening it has no consequence. It bears no consequence. It has no relevance to you getting what you want. Like, are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, are you as hype and excited as I am about this information? Like, really understanding the definition of the words and understanding what they're saying to you, it just changes the game so much. Do you hear what I'm saying, family? Okay? Remember, in order to be punished, an offense has to be acknowledged. That looks different for everybody. Everybody is not offended by the same thing. So therefore, everyone does not expect punishment for the same things. It varies depending on who you are, what you believe, and what you're prone to be offended by, right? But that's why there are many people who are, I guess, considered a little bit more enlightened or more zen, who are more in tune with their I amness, that they don't really believe in offense, because they understand that all things exist. All perceptions exist. Everything has a right to exist. All perceptions have a right to be here, right? And because of that, all is well. That infinite intelligence, God's source, ultimate creator, made all things. All of creation is done. The light, the dark, the yin, the yang, and everything in between. Things that you define as good and things that you define as horrible all have to exist simultaneously, because they're all part of creation. And it's all good. It's all perfect. Now, we can feel however we want to feel about it. But in terms of creation itself, it is perfect because God said so. Right? Created everything in 6 days, and the seventh day he rested and looked at everything and said it was good. And that's everything, that the light, the dark, the contrast, all of that is included. And it's still good. And it's still good. And it's still good. I can feel upset about it, but still know that it's good. Do you know what I'm saying? So, sorry, loud stuff outside. All that to say, I know, again, like I said, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of overwhelming feelings and emotions. Our nervous system is probably freaking out majority of the time. I understand that. I feel my feelings. I encourage you to feel your feelings. Feel your joy, feel your anger, feel your sadness, feel your despair, feel your hope. Do whatever. Feel whatever comes through. Don't suppress your feelings, but also know that a lot of what we're seeing are consequences, not punishments. Okay? Consequences. And we can do something about that. We can change our actions. We can decide on new behaviors. We can think different thoughts. We can place our awareness on what we do want, as opposed to putting all the focus on the thing that we don't want or the thing that we despise. Because as soon as you put a spotlight on it and you keep your spotlight on it, it gets bigger. We know that. Energy flows where attention goes. That is a real thing. That's not just lip service. That is a real thing. That is literally how reality, that's part of how reality is experienced. We only see what we're aware of. So let's put our awareness on the things that we want to see. If we want to change something, we know that we don't change anything, because that experience has a right to be there as part of the infinite, but we can choose. I talked about this in one of my other videos. We can choose. We can choose that, yeah, I don't want to see this no more. So I'm going to choose the version of reality where this ain't happening. And I'm going to put my awareness on it. I'm going to decide, no, all is well here. No, that doesn't exist. No, they don't exist. Nah, that's not even happening right now. Not in my reality. No, I am the source of my own reality, and I govern what happens in my world, because it's all based on my perception and coming through me. So guess what? This is what I'm choosing. I'm choosing to see everything as love and light and bliss and happy and whole and all these. That's what I'm choosing. I'm choosing to see freedom. I'm choosing to see prosperity. I'm choosing to see love and light and integrity and discipline and all these things. That's what I'm choosing. And that's what I'm going to put my awareness on. You do that, the consequence to doing that action is that you get placed in the timeline where all that stuff is happening. That's the result. That's the consequence. When you focus on the things that you don't want, oh, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Let me keep looking at it. Let me keep posting about it. Let me keep blogging about it. Let me keep watching it. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. That is an action that you're taking. And the consequence is that you're going to get more of it. The universe is going to bring you more of it on a silver platter, serve it right up to you. That's just the consequence. It's not a punishment. It's just the consequence of the action. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? Video is a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I hope this video blessed you. I hope it gave you a new perspective between punishment versus consequence. Let's be kinder to ourselves. Let's dig deep and figure out, where are we self-punishing, and why do we feel like, what's the offense? What do we feel that we did that warrants our own self-punishment? Because an offense has to be there. You have to feel that you have offended someone or something. Have you offended someone? Have you offended yourself that you feel like you need to punish yourself for? Food for thought. Remember, consequences do not dictate whether or not you can get the life that you want or get your manifestations. It is irrelevant. Your past does not dictate that, because the past is of no consequence. It is of no relevance. Okay? You decide what the relevance is, and then you'll get the consequence of that result. Okay? Thank you all so much. I will come back with an update. I'm going to do a free masterclass. I'm not going to charge for it, but I will happily accept donations if the spirit moves you. But I will post about that. It is going to be called The Wisdom of Silence. And I'm just going to do a masterclass about how important it is to be silent and all the wisdom that comes through when you can commit and just surrender to the silence. So that'll be coming soon, and I'll keep you guys updated. All right. Love you all. Take care. And I will see you in the next video.